3.1.3 Rhodophyceae. The members of Rhodophyceae are commonly called red algae because of the predominance of the red pigment or phycoerythrin in their body. Majority of the red algae are marine with greater concentration found in warmer area. They occur in both well-lighted region close to the surface of water and also at great depth in ocean where relatively little light penetrates. The red thalli of most of the red algae are multicellular. Some of them have complex body organization. The food is stored as a Floridian starch, which is very similar to amylopectin and glycogen in structure. The red algae usually reproduce vegetatively by fragmentation. They reproduce asexually by non-motile spore and sexually by non-motile. Table 3.1. Division of algae and their main characters. Class, common name, major pigments, store food, cell wall, flagellar, number and position of insertion, habitats. Chlorophyceae. Class, Chlorophyceae, common name, green algae, major pigment, chlorophyll A, B, store food, starch, cell wall, cellulose, flagellar number and position of insertion 2 to 8 equal apical, habit freshwater, brackish water, salt. Phaeophyceae, common name brown algae, major pigment chlorophyll AC, fucoxanthin, store food mannitol, laminaria, cell wall, cellulose and algin. Flagellar number and position of insertion 2 unequal lateral, habitat freshwater, brackish water, salt water. Rhodophyceae, common name red algae, major pigment chlorophyll A, B, phycoerythrin, store food Floridian starch, cell wall, cellulose, pectin and polysulfate ester. Flagellar number and position of insertion absent, habitat freshwater, some brackish water, salt water, most. Gametes. Sexual reproduction is oogamous and accompanied by complex post-fertilization development. The common members are Polyosiphonia, Porphyra, in bracket figure 3.1c, Gracilaria and Galidium. 3.2 Bryophytes. Bryophytes include the various mosses and liverwort that are found commonly grow in moist shaded area in the hill. Figure 3.2. Figure 3.2 Bryophytes. A. Liverwort, Markensia. A. Female thallus. B. Male thallus, mosses. C. Funaria, gametophyte and sporophyte. D. Sphagnum, gametophyte. Bryophytes are also called amphibians of the plant kingdom because these plants can live in soil but are dependent on water for sexual reproduction. They usually occur in damp, humid and shaded locality. They play an important role in a plant succession on barren rock or soil. The plant body of bryophyte is more differentiated than that of algae. It is thallus-like and prostrate or erected and attached to the substratum by unicellular or multicellular roots. They lack true roots, stem or leaves. They may possess root-like, leaf-like or stem-like structure. The main plant body of the bryophytes is haploid. It produces gamete, hence it is called a gametophyte. The sex organ in bryophytes are multicellular. The male sex organ is called antheridium. They produce biflagellate antherozoid. The female sex organ called archegonia is fork-shaped and produce a single egg. The antherozoids are released into water where they come in contact with the archegonium and antherozoid fuse with the egg to produce the zygote. Zygote do not undergo reduction division immediately. They produce a multicellular body called sporophyte. The sporophyte is not free living but attached to the photosynthetic gametophyte and derive nourishment from it. Some cell of the sporophyte undergo reduction division to produce haploid spore. These spores germinate to produce gametophyte. Bryophyte in general are of little economic importance, but some mosses provide for herbaceous mammals, birds, and other animals. Species of sphagnum, a moss, provide peat that have long been used as fuel and a packing material for transshipment of living material because of their capacity to hold water. Mosses, along with lichen, are the first organism to colonize rocks and hence are of great ecological importance. They decompose rock, making the substrate suitable for the growth of higher plants. Since most mosses form dense mat on the soil, they reduce the impact of falling rain and prevent soil erosion. The bryophytes are divided into liverwort and mosses. 3.2.1 Liverwort. The liverwort grow usually in moist shady habitat such a bank of stream, marshy ground, damp soil, bark of tree, and deep in wood. The plant body of liverwort is a thalloid. Example, Markensia. The thallus is a dorsiventral and closely upraised to the substratum. The leafy members have tiny leaf-like appendage in two rows on the stem-like structure. Asexual reproduction in liverwort takes place by fragmentation of thalli or by the formation of a specialized structure called gamete. Gamete are green multicellular asexual buds which develop in small receptacle called gamete cup located on thalli. The gamete become detached from the parent body and germinate to form new individual. During sexual reproduction, male and female sex organ are produced either on the same or on different thalli. The saprophyte is differentiated into a food seta and capsule. After meiosis, spores are produced within the capsule. These spores germinate to form free living gametophyte. 3.2.2 Mosses. The predominant stage of the life cycle of mosses is the gametophyte, which consists of two stages. The first stage is the protonema stage, which develops directly from a spore. It is a creeping green branch and frequently filamentous stage. The second stage is the leafy stage, which develops from the secondary protonema as the latter, but they consist of upright, slender eggs bearing spirally arranged leaves. They are attached to the soil through multicellular and branch rhizoid. This stage bear the sex organ. Vegetative reproduction in mosses is by fragmentation and budding in the secondary protonema. In sexual reproduction, the sex organ, antheridia and archegonia are produced at the apex of leafy shoots. After fertilization, the zygote develop into a sporophyte consisting of a food seta and capsule. The sporophyte in mosses is more elaborated than that in liverwort. The capsule contains spores. Spores are formed after meiosis. The mosses have an elaborated mechanism of spore dispersal. Common example of mosses are Funaria, Polytrichum and Sphagnum. Figure 3.2. Pteridophytes. The pteridophytes include horse tail and fern. Pteridophytes are used for medicinal purpose and as binder. They are also frequently grown as ornamentals. Evolutionary, they are the first terrestrial plant to possess vascular tissue, xylem and phloem. You shall study more about this tissue in chapter 6. The pteridophytes are found in cool, damp, shady places through some many flourish well in sandy soil condition. You may recall that in bryophytes the dominant phase in the life cycle is the gametophyte plant body. However, in pteridophyte the main plant body is saprophyte, which is differentiated into true root, stem and leaves. These organs possess well differentiated vascular tissue. The leaves in pteridophyte are small as in Selaginella or large as in fern. The sporophyte bears sporangia that are sustained by leaf-like appendage called sporophyll. In some cases, sporophyll may form distinct compact structure called strobili or cone. The sporangia produce spore by meiosis in spore mother cell. The spore germinate to give rise to inconspicuous small but multicellular multicellular, free-living, mostly photosynthetic thalloid. Gametophytes called prothallus. These gametophytes require cool, damp, shady place to grow. Because of this specific restricted requirement and need for water for fertilization, the spread of living pteridophyte is limited and restricted to a narrow geographical region. The gametophyte bear male and female sex organ called antheridia and archegonia. Respectively, water is required for transfer of antherozoid. The male gamete release from the antheridia to the mouth of archegonia. Fusion of male gamete with the egg present in the archegonia result in the formation of zygote. Zygote thereafter produce a multicellular well-differentiated sporophyte, which is the dominant phase of the pteridophyte. In majority of the pteridophyte, all the spore are the similar kind. Such plants are called homosporous. Genera like Selaginella and Salvinia, which produce two kinds of spore, macro in bracket large and micro in bracket small. Spore are known as a heterosporous. The megaspore and microspore germinate and give rise to female and male gametophyte respectively. The female gametophyte in this plant are retained on the parent sporophyte for variable period. The development of the zygote into young embryos takes place within the female gametophyte. This event is precursors to the seed habit, considered an important step in evolution. The pteridophyte are further classified into four classes: Psilopisda in bracket Psilotum, Lycopisda in bracket Selaginella lycopodium, Spignopisda in bracket Gypsidum, and Pteridopisda in bracket Dipteris pteris adiantum.